to show how Price Labs can help Airbnb owners and managers improve their revenues, but also how Price Labs integrates with SyncBnB in order to push these prices to all your channels. So, quick intro: SyncBnB is a channel manager for vacation rentals. So we help vacation rental owners and managers increase their revenue and avoid double bookings. Besides the channel management part, we also have a few PMS features. So we have team management, we have expense management, and I'll show you all that very soon in a very quick presentation. I'm going to show you SyncBnB. Price Labs is one of the most popular and respected smart pricing software and services that are out there today, specifically for vacation rentals and short-term rentals. So what they do is they calculate what's the best price you have to sell your property every night, and they constantly update those prices so that you get the maximum revenue possible for your STR. Richie will tell you more about what they do, how they do it, and what's the best way to work with Price Labs. So let's just dive into it, and I'll just share my screen and show you how SyncBnB works, and I'll show you then how you can connect that with Price Labs. So let me just see how to share my screen. Share screen, okay. And let me just make sure I'm sharing the right browser. So can you see my screen with the SyncBnB dashboard open?
Yep, I can.
Okay, great. So this is what you see when you first log into SyncBnB. This is an actual account of an actual property, and it's already set up, but the setup process is very easy. So when you log in, you see, bars with your latest bookings, upcoming reservations and bookings, and when each one is expected. And you can just click on each, and it will take you to the page of the booking with all information about the guest, all the notes that came from the channel, whether it's Airbnb or Booking, Expedia, TripAdvisor, no matter what channel it is, you get all the information here, including all the details, the pricing details of the booking. And the setup section, which is next on the menu, you will only need to visit this section when you want to add a new property or add a new channel. So when you go to rentals, you can see all the rentals in one place. If you click on a rental, you can see the rental card with more information about the specific rental, the setup. If you have a manager, what's the manager fee, the time zone, a public calendar URL, the private iCal for that specific property, statistics for any time period you want to watch and monitor, and then you have all the channels that are connected for this specific rental. The next option in setup is channels. This is where you add all your channels. So Airbnb, Agoda, WordPress, Booking, your own website. SyncBnB is the only, I think, one of the only channel managers right now in the world that can synchronize your own website. So you can build a website on WordPress, and we can synchronize that calendar so that you never get a double booking, and you have all your bookings in one place. We have team management. So you can invite team members to join your team, and for each team member, you can assign a specific role, if he's ground crew, property owner, read-only, and which properties he has access to. I'm taking this demo very fast because I want to leave enough time for Richie to show Price Labs, which is the important part of this presentation, this webinar. But if anyone wants a one-on-one demo to show you more about how it works, just contact me, just send an email, or just visit syncbnb.com and talk to us through the live chat, and we can make that happen. So the bookings menu option is where the core of the system lies. So this is the list of all your bookings from all your channels, and you can filter by rental, you can filter by channel, and you can select what time period you want to see, and just click filter, and you get the full list of the bookings for the period that you have selected, and you can show all the entries here. So you have all the bookings here in one place. As you can see, there are bookings from the WordPress website, direct bookings that were added manually in the system, Airbnb booking. There's bookings from Vrbo, from everywhere. You can export everything in a CSV in Excel or a financial export, and then use that export with third-party systems. If you want to see all your bookings in a calendar view, you just click calendar, and you can switch months here, and whenever you click on one of the bookings, you can see more information. Wherever you see satellite block, this is a block that has been done because there is a linking between this property with another. For example, if you have a villa with 4 rooms and you want to sell 2 rooms separately and the other 2 rooms as a different property, you can do that, and SyncDNB supports it with linking between properties either in a parent-child relationship or in a sibling relationship. So if you want to see all your bookings in one place from all your properties, you just click multi-calendar, and you can see all your bookings in a multi-calendar view. And again, when you see this preparation time, this can be set up in SyncDNB. So if you want, 1 or 2 days before and after each booking to prepare the place, you can set this up in SyncDNB, and then we update all your channels to have 1 day before and after each booking blocked. The rate management is where the important thing about the communication with the PriceLabs happens. So this is where you go if you want to manage your rates. So you can add default settings, so your weekday rate, your weekend rate, and if you have an extra fee per person, after how many guests, minimum length of stay, maximum length of stay, all that is set up here. And you also have some channel-specific settings. And then if you want exceptions, so if you want to be more expensive in summertime or during the Christmas holidays or whatever, you can go to exceptions. You find the period that you want to change. You click on the first and the last date, and then here you can change a bunch of stuff. So you can change which days of the week the new prices will be affected on. What's the extra cost per person, minimum length of stay, if you want to block arrival or departure for these dates, and so on and so forth. So this whole section of rate management will be locked if you use PriceLabs, because now PriceLabs is in charge of deciding what's the best rate you should sell. And you can also modify various parameters on PriceLabs, like what's the minimum price you want to accept, and a bunch of other stuff that Richie will tell you very soon. So I won't get into more details about pricing. I'll just show you our expenses module, which is very interesting because here you can set up your expenses for all your properties. And it's specifically built for vacation rentals and short-term rentals in mind. And it gives you the ability to understand how much each rental actually costs. So when you add a new expense, let's say we have an expense of 100 euros, which is, for example, this might be for your power, your electricity bill, and it might affect 2 properties. So you just click the properties that are taking part in this expense, and then you can decide if it's a 1-day expense or a period expense. So if it's a period expense, you tell it that it refers to the 1st until the 30th of September, for example. You can add a category: gardening, housekeeping, utilities. You can also add your own categories and give it a title or a hashtag if you want to find it later when you search. And you can click to select if it has been paid or not, and with what payment method, so that you can track which expenses are not paid and due to be paid, so that you know what you have to pay at every time. So if you click save here, I won't click save now because this is a live environment. It will be added as an expense, and you can see it by month or by year or by day. So this is a monthly view of all the expenses of this property. And if you click on one specific month, it will just open and drill down by day. So now you can see for the rentals that you have selected, let's select the 4-bedroom villa, for example. You can see exactly how much it costs every day. If you add all your expenses, you can see it here. So now that you know how much it actually costs per day, which you can see it here, the average daily spending, now you know how much you can sell it. So that's the important thing about expenses and tracking all your expenses. It gives you the ability and the opportunity to understand if you are too cheap or too expensive. So now that you have all your expenses in one place, you can also get a full P&L report. So this is a report with the bookings. Below that, you can see statistics for the selected period. Let's select, for example, 2021. And here you have your revenue per month. And here is your profit and loss report. So P&L means profit and loss. And this shows you each month how much money you're earning, which is the first number, the blue one, and how much money you are spending. So now you know how much money you are profiting or losing. So the black line with the black diamonds, this is your actual profit or loss. So when it's below the zero line, it's a loss, and when it's above, it's a profit. So it's very important to know if you're making money or losing money from every property and how much, because that will allow you to grow better. You also have your revenue per channel, and you can see the green bars per channel, and then the gray ones refer to the previous period of the same the previous year. The next option in our menu is the marketplace, and this is where you can find partners like PriceLabs, for example. We have smart locks, we have transports for the airport, we have categories for many different options, and we're constantly adding new partners. So you should visit this section if you're a customer to see what available connections are available. So if you want to connect to PriceLabs, you just click on the PriceLabs logo. You get a page with a brief summary of what PriceLabs does. And then you have two options. You can either learn more about PriceLabs, that will take you to the PriceLabs page on their website with more information, or activate integration. So when you click activate integration, you will be presented with a small form. You just add a few things that we need, and the integration starts, and then PriceLabs is connected to SyncBNB. I won't go into more details. Settings and billing are details. This is the main idea. This is what SyncBNB does. It's very simple, very easy to use. We specifically built it as easy to use as possible, because that was the number one thing that all our customers were asking for. They needed something that was easy to use and easy to set up. Setup is a breeze. And so I'll just stop sharing my screen now and pass the torch back to Richie.
Super cool. Thank you so much, Alex. Alex, can you, personally for my learning, talk about two things? One, on the reservations tab, I saw there was Airbnb logo, Booking.com logo, but there was also SyncBNB logo. What does that mean?
The SyncBNB logo means it's a manual booking. So what a manual booking is, someone might call you on the phone and say, hey, Alex, I want to rent your place next week. So you just go to the SyncBNB dashboard, you go to the calendar, and you see if that week is empty. You just go and add a manual booking on your own, and you add the name of the guest and how much money you're going to charge him, and that is added as a direct booking. So there are two ways to get direct bookings. One is from your website, and the second is when you add it manually onto SyncBNB. So the green SyncBNB logo icon is for these manual bookings.
Got it. And then second question was about the website, right? So does SyncBNB have its own booking engine, or how does that work? Like if I have a website, can I just what do I do?
We have a website builder. The difference between our website builder and the competition is that most of the competition, they have subscription websites. So you have to pay like $30 every month to have your website up and running. And if you want to stop using their service, because they usually have also a PMS, you lose your website. So if you stop using the PMS, you stop. You lose access to your website. You have to build it again from scratch. So what we did, we took a different approach. We build your website for you on a WordPress with the plugins and the themes that you choose a theme that you like best. We have specific plugins that work well with SyncBNB, and it just costs $600. And we give you your site ready with the keys on the hand, all the the usernames, the passwords, everything, the hosting working, and it's yours forever. It's yours for life. So even if you stop using SyncBNB as a channel manager or a PMS, you keep your website forever, and you can sync it with other services or do whatever you like. However, we also have a website builder guide. So if you just Google, how can I build my direct booking website? The first result is a 13-step guide with pictures and videos that show you how you can build your own website on WordPress on your own. So you don't have to pay the $600 to us. And hundreds of people have used it, and we're getting thanks every day for that. But if you have problems and it's difficult, we can just come to us and we build it for you.
Very, very cool. And then second question, a follow-up question on that. So the booking engine is SyncBNB's booking engine or some third-party booking engine?
It's a third-party booking engine that we have collaborated with to make sure that it synchronizes with our calendar without issues.
Very cool. And do PriceLabs prices, if they go to SyncBNB, do they also go to the booking website? Do you know?
That's the next thing in our pipeline. So right now, when you're using rate management from SyncBNB or you get your prices from PriceLabs, we push those prices to 3 channels: Airbnb, Booking, and Expedia.
Yeah.
Very soon, I think next month, we will also have Vrbo. So it will be Airbnb, Booking, Expedia, and Vrbo. And the next one that will be ready in the first quarter of 2022 will be your direct booking website. So that will be 5 sites that will be updated in once.
Very cool. Very cool. I do get a lot of questions about how can we build our own website, or how can we get PriceLabs' prices flowing into my own website. This is personally, I learned something here. And then before I start with PriceLabs, Alex, there's a question. Can you show us an example of a website that you built? Like, is there anything that you can share?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me just share my screen again. So can you see the website here that says Ampelos Estate?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Great. So this is a
website not clear, but I'm not sure if it's my internet, but yeah.
This is a website that was built with our website builder service. So, you can add your photos and all your properties. So this has 5 properties, sorry, for rent. You can add your content, like explore the area, and photos and videos and content about the area. And then if you want to book, you can just click book now. And when you click book now, you will be taken to the booking engine, where you select the dates that you're interested in. And if you can see, can you see some dates that are pink?
Yeah.
These are pink because they are blocked from another channel. So they might be, an Airbnb booking here, or a booking.com, or an Expedia. Yeah. So because we synchronize your website with all the other channels, now your website knows which dates are available. So you don't get booking on a date that is already booked. So you can just select the dates here and how many people, let's say 2 adults, for example, and click search. And now the system will try to find which of the properties have availability for 2 adults for these days. So it found these properties here. And when you click one of them, let's select this accommodation, you just enter your details. You can select what details you want to ask from the user. So name, email, and a bunch of other stuff. And then you get the reservation summary. And now you select your payment. You can either pay by PayPal or by credit card. And when you put your credit card details and click book now, the booking is executed. In a few seconds, you will see it inside SyncBNB. And that's all there is to it. It's very simple, and it works like a charm.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Love it. Love it. I separately get a more detailed demo of SyncBNB at some point, Alex. Cool.
Happy to.
Okay. And there are some more questions coming in. I'm going to address the PriceLabs question, but maybe if you can just quickly take this question. I know, can you manage guest codes with August Lock to mirror last 4 digits of booking person's phone number?
So we currently integrate with a smart lock company called Radify. So they have smart locks, and whenever you get a booking in SyncBNB, we automatically update Radify and tell them the details of the booking, so they generate the code for the guest. And they send an SMS and an email and a message to the guest to download the application, to use their phone as a key to enter the home. We have a couple of more integrations with smart locks in the pipeline. August is one of them, but we're not yet integrated. It will be ready, I think, for sure in 2022.
Very cool. Very cool. Cool. Let me quickly take over here. And how did you share? Okay, share your screen. Tell me if you see my presentation.
It's loading, so we should see it in a few seconds, I think.
Now?
I'm not seeing it yet. I don't know about the other guys. Maybe other guys are seeing it.
It says dynamic pricing and revenue management, PriceLabs, and SyncBNB.
It hasn't shown up on my screen yet. I don't know about the other guys.
Oh,
I think
no.
you have to select.
No, I didn't complete the sharing. My bad.
Yeah, you have to select which window or tab to share.
How about now?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Now it's fine. Okay, super cool. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined in. If you're already a PriceLabs user, this might be a little too basic, but if you've not used PriceLabs, we are a dynamic pricing and revenue management platform. We work with, sorry about that animation that came in, but we work with Airbnb, vacation rentals, short-term rentals, apart hotels, basically all kind of accommodations. And we have three kinds of products: dynamic pricing, market dashboards, and portfolio analytics. Dynamic pricing is what we integrate with Sync BNB, right? We started in 2014. Our team is spread between US, Brazil, Portugal, France, India, Spain now, and I'm personally based out of India. We price over 100,000 properties and have customers in over 95 countries. Like I said, we have three different products: market dashboards, dynamic pricing, and portfolio analytics. What market dashboards is it shows you market data for various markets, right? You can go in, you can specify address, a radius around it, and we will show you what's happening on Airbnb or VRBO in terms of revenues or future prices, or what kind of bookings are coming in, what length of stays, and all kind of stuff, right? Dynamic pricing is our most popular product. That's where we help you maximize your revenue based on what's happening in terms of market supply and demand. And in addition, we also do minimum stays, where we help you set up minimum stays so that you can maximize your occupancy. Now, revenue is a combination of the price that you charge and occupancy that you get, right? And so that's where minimum stay becomes very important. So we do those two things in dynamic pricing. And portfolio analytics is basically a product that where some of the reports that Alex already showed about reservations. It's reservation data, but visualized from a pricing or revenue management perspective, so that if you are trying to understand what's happening with my bookings, what kind of booking patterns, and how do I apply it to my listing or pricing, you can see that very easily with portfolio analytics. Now, what is dynamic pricing? Dynamic pricing is basically adjusting your rates and availability frequently based on various factors. And when I say various factors, they could mean market demand, seasonality, day of week, events, lead time, listing performance. And I can imagine, like, it may seem a little bit overwhelming, but what PriceLabs does is there are independent algorithms for all of these that combine together to come up with a rate recommendation for each night. And every 24 hours, we'll go in, we'll relook at what's happening in terms of market data, in terms of day of week, blah, 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 and readjust your rates, right? Now, oftentimes, you would have seen, maybe some of your peers, friends, right? Their prices look something like this. Or maybe there are some steps where there is some seasonality in there, right? But what you're doing is every single day, maybe on some days, you could have charged 120, right? And made that $20 more. Or maybe on some days, if you were really priced at 80, you could have gotten that booking rather than staying empty, right? So that's the problem in Crux that we solve. And with PriceLabs, your prices start to look something like this, where every day the prices could be very different, and every 24 hours this will rehash. I do want to add one thing. If you had an expensive property and you wanted us to round up your prices or round down your prices, so let's say it's not 127, but it rounds up to 130 or something, that's something that we can do, right? Or 122 becomes 120, something that we can do, right? So it looks more pleasing, but essentially that's what a dynamic pricing calendar would look like. What actually happens is we start with your base price. That is I showed in a couple of calendars above. Okay, we start with a $100 base price, for example. We'd layer on seasonality, we'd layer on day of week factors, we'd layer on holidays and events, we'd layer on lead time, and what it doesn't say, we also layer on your own property's performance. And with all of that, your prices would start to look like something like this red line. Some days it's going lower, some days it's going very high. And the idea is, when there is higher demand, you're able to capture that and charge more money. When there's lower demand, you're hopefully able to reduce your prices so that you can actually capture that booking, right? And all of that becomes automated so that you don't have to manually go in and monitor every day what's happening. Here's kind of an example of what dynamic pricing looks like. What I mean by every day we'd go in, right? So if you see, it's kind of hard to see in this slide, but if you see there is a dotted line. The dotted line was yesterday's price. The dark black line is today's price. And what's happening is um, the for certain days, as we see demand go up, we're increasing prices. But for certain days, when we're seeing demand go down or our projection of demand go down, we're decreasing prices. The other thing that's happening is it's kind of based on market occupancy to saying where is market occupancy, because there is a certain demand, but there is also availability, right? If the market occupancy is very high, you want to push your prices further higher because you can still get a booking, especially if you have days from when the booking date is. The other thing that I wanted to mention, oftentimes you'd also hear about where am I in the market in terms of percentile position or whatever. Our system kind of doesn't believe in that. We believe in true demand, right? If on certain days the demand is low, you want to be at the lower end of the market. So this orange market is, think of it as 0 to 50th percentile of the market, and the blue market is the 50th to 100th percentile of the market, right? On low demand days, you want to be on the lower end of the market. On very high demand days, you want to be on the higher end of the market. The thing with the concept of I want to be at the 50th percentile or 60th percentile or something comes from hotel industry or airlines industry, where there is a lot of maturity in terms of pricing. A lot of large hotels price really well. A lot of airlines price really well. So you know where your relative position is. But in short-term rentals, majority of the hosts, our estimate is somewhere not like more than 95% people still don't use any kind of pricing fluctuations. Forget smart pricing, forget Price Labs or any other tools, right? It's just smart pricing, right? So you don't want to compare yourself in terms of price to some competitor who has no idea what they're doing, right? Which is why we go by availability. And in high demand days, we'd be on the higher end of the portfolio. On lower demand days, we'd be on the lower side. On top of that, let's talk about dynamic minimum stays, right? Oftentimes, for example, I saw a bunch of people who had joined in from Greece, and say you have a villa and you have a 7-day minimum on the villa. You get a 7-day booking, you get a 4-day gap, and then you get another 7-day booking. Now, the 2-day gap becomes unbookable unless you manually go in there, open your calendar, and allow someone to book that 4 days. That's kind of that's a nuisance, and that sometimes makes you lose revenue, right? What dynamic minimum stays do is they allow you to, of course, set a weekday versus weekend different minimum stay. But then for last minute minimums, they allow you to reduce your minimum stays or whatever number you want it to be. After a certain number of days, you can increase your minimum stays. So after 45 days, I have a 3-night minimum. And after 90 days, I have a 7-night minimum. Farther out, you want a larger minimum because you don't want people blocking, say, your next summer's calendar with 2-night bookings or 1-night bookings or whatever, right? You want a larger minimum. And then this final one, which is like a gap filler, is the one where I started with. You get a 7-day booking, you have a 4-day gap, and you get another 7-day booking. If that 4-day gap is unbookable, with our gap filler, it would automatically open the calendar. Cool. And then finally summarizing, the way this works is there are 3 products. Dynamic pricing is what we touched on. Portfolio analytics, where you can see analytics of your properties, and market dashboards is where you can see data for your property, right? Not for your property, data for your market. And then the most obvious question after all of this is how much does it cost? Dynamic pricing, we do a 30-day free trial, and we have an offer going on with SyncBNB where you get 25% off for your first 3 months after the 30-day trial. Portfolio analytics is absolutely free. The slide says free for next 12 months, but for now it's free forever, as long as we know. And market dashboards, we track market data and we show you market data, usually generally used for if you're not using a pricing solution or if you're looking to invest or understand a market. You can track up to 1,000 listings for $10 a month. Cool. I went through a bunch of stuff here quickly. I don't know if there are any questions. If not, I can also take maybe 5 minutes, Alex, is that okay, to quickly show the platform?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay, let's do it. Cool.
While you're opening up the your platform,
Yeah.
may I ask, do you have any idea how much Price Labs can improve the revenue in average of a property?
Yeah. Varies from depending on what you're doing, right? If you're generally not doing anything, you easily see somewhere between 10 to 40%. If you were spending a lot of time trying to adjust and manipulate your rates, right, your increment could be lower, could be more, right? I have a customer who said 200% increment, right? I had a customer
So
from
2 times what if he was making 10,000 a month, now he's making 20,000 a month.
exactly,
Okay.
right? And then I have a customer who yesterday from South Africa who ran a test for us. Like they had a couple of their properties just doing whatever they were doing, a couple of their properties doing Price Labs, right? Have been testing for last 6 months in South Africa, and these guys have 500 properties. So I'm super excited about this, right? But they ran this test for 7 months, and over the course of 7 months, they realized that Price Labs helps them make 5% more than whatever they were doing, right?
For a property management company, 5% is a lot of money.
Exactly. 5% may seem sometimes small, but if you think of 5% plus all the time savings that you're not spending trying to do everything, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. And 5% can be
You
a
have
lot.
to select your the screen you want to share.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super cool. Can you guys see it now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So guys, when you log in, I don't have a welcome page, but it looks like a welcome page with a button which says connect your properties, right? You'd go through the steps that Alex had outlined about activating the integration on Sync BNB and everything. And then you'd create a Price Labs account. You'd come select Sync BNB. And when you select Sync BNB, and just all that you need to do is click save. When you click save, Sync BNB will give us access, and you'd see your Sync BNB properties show up here. I have an Airbnb property here, and all of these are dummy properties, which is why it has a very weird name, sofa, bed, and playroom. But what you'd see is we start with a base price. Base price is kind of the average price that you have. If you're not if you've been using Sync BNB for a while, we will automatically look at your reservation history, your future reservations, and come up with a base price. But what you can also do is click this help me choose a base price. When you click help me choose a base price from Sync BNB, we get information about how why is it not working? Sorry, not sure what I did. From Sync BNB, we get how big your property is, and based on that, we look at the properties around in your neighborhood, and say say if this was a 1-bedroom property, I'm looking at 150 properties. Your current base price is set at 117, right? And the median price is at 112, which is like the 50th percentile. Maybe you want to be at the 50th percentile. Maybe you want to be slightly higher, slightly lower, depending on if you have your basic property or a high-end property. The other thing that happens is after about 7 days, Price Labs starts learning, and it will start showing a recommended base price. And after about 60 days, we kind of have really learned about your property, and we start showing you better predictions on what the base price should be. What we're really doing is comparing how your property is performing and how the market is performing. And based on that, we'd show you a recommended base price. The second thing that you can do is specify a minimum. Minimum is a number that we would never go below, and maximum is a number that we will never go above, right? Some people get conscious about, like, I have a $100 property. Price Labs is for a very high demand day going all the way up to 400. No one, like, depending on the property, your properties, no one would pay 400 because it's a little bit too basic or whatever. Maybe you may want to add a cap, right? And then you'd start seeing prices. This is where your calendar would look like. You can flip through this and you can see all sorts of things. You'd see your listings performance. It's green. No days are available in the last 7 days. About 53% of the days are available in 30 days, and 76% days are available in next 60 days. There are also Price Labs is known for its customizations. I'm not going to go through it now, but you can see a ton of customizations. Very similar to SyncBNB, you can also see all kinds of like all of your properties together on a rate chart, so that you can see what's happening with the properties, what kind of bookings, what kind of prices do they have. So you can see prices, you can see minimum stays, and you can see whatever is happening. And you can, of course, drag select on any day and override the prices, right? Portfolio analytics, like I talked about, it starts to show you, it gets data from your PMS, and it starts to show you, okay, what's your revenue performance compared to previous 30 days. You can also look at last 60 days, right? You'd see all of these metrics which make more sense from pricing perspective. You'd see how that pricing is comparing against last few years and the future year. What's the RevPAR like, occupancy like, book rate like. You'd start seeing some listing level metrics and so on and so forth. And then finally, market dashboards. Like I said, you can specify an address, blah, blah. You can create a market dashboard, and a market dashboard would start to show you data like what are the KPIs, what area are we tracking in a map, what are these properties doing. I'm sorry, this page hasn't fully loaded yet. What is happening in terms of revenue for these properties. You can also create certain comp sets where you say, I only want to look at 2-bedroom greater than having more than 10 reviews, and they use a dynamic pricing, like they use dynamic pricing, or they don't use dynamic pricing, or something like that, right? And then you'd see
comp stands for competition, right?
Comp stands for competition. Yeah. And so you'd see all kinds of data. You can also see what future occupancy looks like, what are some high demand days, and so on and so forth, right? But I'll stop sharing. There is a lot that we can talk about in this, right? The intent was to give you a quick overview. If you're curious about how Price Labs works, every day, 3 times a day, we run a webinar, and you can like sign up for that webinar. You'd find it on our website. There's a training webinar section, and you can find that. We also have a ton of videos on YouTube that you can find. And finally, if you have questions about how SyncBNB or Price Labs integration works, of course, you can reach out to SyncBNB team, but feel free to reach out to Price Labs as well. Our email ID is support@pricelabs.co. So if you email there, and I'm going to type it in chat, if you email us there, we can get back to you with any questions that you have, right? Or loop SyncBNB in if we need some help there or whatever, right? Cool. I've rushed through.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Rushed through so much and so fast, but
maybe we can take a few questions from the audience.
Let's do it.
I think it's better you just scroll from the beginning and see questions that would be interesting for you to answer, and just take them and answer them.
Okay. There's a lot of.
Start with the earliest ones first, since they asked first.
Yeah. Can you centrally manage? I think this has been answered. You showed the website. Guest lock, yes. If I already have Price Labs and SyncBNB, will Price Labs still work with Vrbo, or will it be disrupted until the sync is completed? No. So what you do is you'd connect Price Labs and SyncBNB, and you'd still keep your VRBO connection. So we'll be sending prices to SyncBNB and VRBO. And whenever SyncBNB has completed their integration with VRBO, you turn off Price Labs, and you just send prices to SyncBNB, and SyncBNB would send prices to Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia, VRBO. And sounds like the VRBO integration is imminent, right? So Megan, for now, keep SyncBNB and VRBO in your account.
It's great that you can have 2 at the same time. It's great.
Yes. And Megan, also, if you're do search on knowledge base for mapping, MAPPING, mapping to properties. That way we know it's the same SyncBNB and VRBO property, and you're not double charged for it. And if you have questions, reach out to our support team. Cool. Right. Harry put in some examples of website builder, which is awesome. What about if you already have a website? Can it be connected to SyncBNB? Alex, that's your question.
Yeah, the answer is yes. And Harry answered below. Just contact us either at support@syncbnb.com or just go to syncbnb.com, click on the live chat on the bottom right. We have 24/7 people always answering, and just tell us what your website is, and we'll ask a few questions and we'll tell you if we can sync it. We synchronize 90% of the websites that are available right now, so we can probably synchronize it.
Super cool. Cool. Noel asked, what's the difference between like Pricelabs or dynamic pricing and a tool that Airbnb provides? And I think Totemo's answered partly there, where Airbnb.
I can give the quick answer. One works, the other doesn't. Right? Pricelabs just works. Airbnb, all I hear all the time is how sorry for the word, how shitty the smart pricing of Airbnb is. It's all I hear all day.
So the only thing that I would say is, like, Airbnb's data science team is in a very difficult spot, right? We work with you guys, the owners, the property managers, right? And so our intent is to maximize how much revenue you can make. Smart BNB is a marketplace. They have three competitive factors. They want to keep the hosts happy, but they want to keep guests happy, and they want to compete with Booking.com, Expedia, and everyone, right? So now, as a data scientist there, they are not sure if they maximize hosts revenue or they maximize for guest outcome, which is lower price is better for guests, right? Or they definitely want to be lower than Booking.com or Expedia because they don't want to lose business there, right? And the final challenge that they run into is we're not as big as Airbnb, right? So Airbnb, every host is equal in the same area, right? If we get there, that'll be a problem for us. But today, every customer that we work with, we're trying to maximize their revenue, right? Airbnb has no differentiation between you versus your neighbor versus your neighbor's neighbor, right? So that's the reason. But if you search for Airbnb smart pricing, you'd see what kind of challenges people face. Second question is Expedia, Booking.com, TripAdvisor. We're not a channel manager. We do connect with Airbnb and VRBO, and we may connect with a few different tools, but channel management is not our specialty. That is SyncBNB's specialty. So if you're looking for more channels, Expedia, Booking.com, your own website, blah, 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 I think it's better to use SyncBNB tool to take our prices, send to SyncBNB and whatever. I know they don't integrate with VRBO yet, but it's coming soon. How is data derived? Very long question. Please feel free to email us at support@pricelabs.co. Or I think I can get your email, Noel, and we'll reach out to you.
David Hatfield has a question. I think it's for you. It says, we have rental campers near the beach and we compete against beach houses. We can't charge as much as a beach house, so can we program the price to be a specific percentage discount below the beach house prices?
So David, not really. You can't set it that way. But what you can do is you can say where my base price is going to be in comparison to the beach house, right? And if you're at a relatively lower rate in terms of base price, you can generally make sure that you're below the beach house prices. And then in Pricelabs, you can also see how other properties are charging. And so you can see where are you in terms of the percentile. So generally, you can try to be lower.
How do you? Noel is asking, how do you acquire the rental data to create the KPIs and analysis? Not sure if it's directed to me or you. If it's directed to SyncBNB, the answer is we connect to all your channels. We pull all your bookings from those channels, so we know centrally all your bookings. So since we know all your bookings, we know how much each booking cost, how much money you got, how much was taxes, how much was this and that, how many people stayed in. We know all the information about every booking. That allows us to build the reports and the KPIs to give you to have a global picture about your business.
Yeah, super cool. And then Anuj has a question about how does the integration work? Anuj, Harry already wrote back, and I'm sure you've seen that. We also have our help articles, which Maria, I'm sure, we can potentially send after this call, right? I don't know if you guys have a link. I think we have a link of a help article. I'm just going to paste it here. Let's see. SyncBNB, Pricelabs. I'm gonna find it and paste it. But any other questions? If not,
but I think the answer to Anuj is yes. You first have to open a PriceLabs account and then integrate with SyncBNB. So you need an account on both systems, and then you just follow the procedure to connect them.
Got it. Very cool. Okay, I actually did not know this fully. I learned something new. I did not know that you need to have an account in PriceLabs before. But cool. I've also copy pasted the help article. I will review it again and see if something needs to be changed. But generally, it should work. What's on the help article? The team should have tested it. Cool. Alex,
I think we covered most of the questions of our participants. This is also recorded, so we can publish this, and anyone that didn't get the chance to be here today with us can watch it whenever they can. And if you're watching this at a later time and not live, just any questions you have, just contact Richie at the email he shared earlier, or myself at alex@syncbnb.com. Or just visit our websites and talk to our live chats on the websites, and I'm sure you'll get all the answers you need.
Very cool.
So, Richie, it was amazing having you here today. And I'm sure, there are many joint customers that love both services, and more of them to come that will love both services. And the more channels we add in SyncBNB, I think this will add also a little more value to someone that's using PriceLabs, because now they can push those prices on more channels. So I'm very stoked and very happy about this integration.
Absolutely. I'm very excited about the website thing. I'm going to learn more about SyncBNB and website and
yeah, let's connect whenever you have time and talk more about it.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Maria, for helping us set this up. Thank you, everyone, for joining and taking part in this discussion and asking questions and giving us the opportunity to answer them. Thank you, Richie, for being here, and we'll see everyone soon, hopefully, maybe even up close and personal in some event, in some conference that might happen live in the next few months or years.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye.